Avatar for me was staying fresh in a year-and-a-half cutting process. Because normally you cut over maybe 6 weeks, or maybe Titanic was about 3 months, 3.5 months, but a year and a half. And it's just really hard to keep the movie fresh to you as the surrogate audience, because we weren't going to take it out and screen it, because that would have blown all our security.
My theory about editing in movies is that you try and keep it alive. It's like jazz in a certain kind of way. You're still finding the movie even in the edit. Is that true for you?
Oh, very much so on this film. Yeah, probably more so than any of the other films.
I just love the simplicity of the story. I just don't know how somebody takes all this huge philosophic, spiritual overlay, very complicated stuff, and simplify it down into an action-adventure story. I was just really amazed. I mean, I kept thinking, this is so brilliant because it's keeping it simple for people.
I wanted this.
We have to grasp these ideas.
The surface layer to be very simple and clear. I think there's a difference between stupidity and cliche on the one hand, and clarity and archetype on the other hand. I wanted people to be firmly located, knowing what type of story they were watching. And then I felt that the thematic layers underneath that would work in a kind of counter melody to that. So it's a very simple, clear primary melody.
Yeah.
And certainly the detractors of the film have fastened on that and said it was stupid and derivative.
I don't think it's a legitimate criticism, personally, but it's not.
Interestingly, reviewers didn't do that for the most part. I would say the reviews were sort of 90% positive. So it wasn't really the reviewers doing it. It was really people who had a specific political agenda or an axe to grind with the movie that fastened on what they perceived as weak spots in order to diss the movie, rather than try to attack the issue that attacked them head on, because they can't defend themselves when it comes to talking about how corporations are fucking up the environment. By the way, corporations are fucking up the environment.
But even the idea of avatars. I mean, Christ is thought to be an avatar. Krishna is thought to be an avatar. This idea of other consciousnesses taking body in other civilizations. It's just and to take it to the level that you did, simplifying it and making it an action-adventure story, it's just genius, as far as I'm concerned personally. And I love the blue character. And I was just wondering if you were influenced by the fact that in Hindu and a lot of the Indian religion, that there are blue beings.
I've asked a number. Yeah, I was. Absolutely, sure. I'm very cognizant of that. I even debated giving them 4 arms. But I felt seriously, we drew some, but I abandoned it because I felt that it would rob the actors of the ability to fully perform the character. We were stretching it even a little bit with the tail because they couldn't perform the tail. But I made sure that the actors got a chance to talk to the animators about what they thought the tail should be doing. And the ears, obviously, same thing. But I felt that an additional pair of arms would be too much. It would take too much of their performance away and shift it too much into the camp of the animators. I thought about it. I've asked a number of Hindus, and not ones that are necessarily religious leaders or experts or theologians in that religion, but just practicing Hindus. Why are they blue? And I've asked 6 people and gotten 6 different answers, and the answers they're not really strongly visceral answers that I can even re-explain.
The blue beings.
Will you ever return to 2D after this experience?
Probably not.
Really?
Probably not.
For the rest of your career?
Well, pre-Avatar, I had made a decision to shoot all my subsequent stuff in 3D, and then I decided to make Avatar.
It was so successful, I must say.
I like the fact that you're connecting to these kind of mytho-poetic and mystical and spiritual themes in the film, because that stuff's all there by design. It was tricky to weave it in, and sometimes to play against expectation. There's obviously a sense with the wood sprites landing on him that he's kind of the anointed one or the chosen one. But I personally have a problem with the whole idea of a chosen one. If the chosen one doesn't choose, you got to both choose. And there's this idea in the movie that everybody chooses.
Right.
When he goes to pick the Banshee chooses him and he chooses it.
Right.
And everybody chooses to do. There's nothing that's sort of predestined. There's still free will operating. When he decides to go grab that Leonard bridge, situation, show up as their messianic figure,
Right.
he's chosen to do it. And for very secular reasons, because he wants to get the girl back. You know, it's the only way that she'll ever talk to him again is if he goes and gets the big critter.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a Marine practically solving a problem.
I love that aspect where they say you're the first dreamwalker who's a warrior.
Right.
Now that was major because now we're talking about a warrior's heart.
Yeah.
And
another theme that I've always loved in films, not necessarily ones that I've written as much as other films that I've liked, is the idea that you pick the wrong guy to fuck with. They just picked the wrong guy. They inadvertently dropped a warrior into a situation where he could be one of the other team. You know, he could become and understand one of them and fight with their power. They should not have done that.
But they understood him. I mean, first of all, two things about Chosen.
the Navi.
Yeah, the Navi.
Yes.
First of all, what was nice about just the Chosen one, he was acknowledged by the divine feminine, the Gaia element in that.
Exactly.
So everyone knows that. Then he comes through not as a scientist who can't be taught, who knows everything, but as a warrior that they understand. So there's the common heart.
So you've definitely got all of the kind of the mythic, you know, kind of biblical kind of aspects of the steps toward the person becoming the Messiah, and there are little tweaks on the nose of that. One that, you know, he basically kind of does it for secular reasons. The other thing is that the moment when he communes with the goddess, with Ewa, you know, to right before the final battle, sort of the prayer before battle, he doesn't say, you know, he says, "I got to give you a heads up." Well, you know, traditionally, the omniscient, you know, deity doesn't need a heads up. In this particular case, within this story, this organism, this planetary mind, needed to be told the big picture. The big picture was these people are not going to stop. And my motivation for that was, you know, you think of the Sioux. If they had known what was really going to happen, they would have fought to the last man.